Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the OK Grognard Show. It is Monday, July 6, 2020, 9:30 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. That's Monday. We do the weekly news and giveaway for last week, June 28th to July 4th. Hope you had a happy and safe holiday if you're here in the U.S. Our pal LexFire22 was the winner last week. I've been in touch with him. Just getting the information squared away right now, as a matter of fact. And congrats to you on getting yourself a GameHole Con badge for Virtual GameHole Con the end of October, beginning of November. And, okay, here we go. We'll square away that information, get him set up with a badge. Virtual GameHole Con should be a lot of fun, whether you're playing in games on Roll20 or Zoom or any other format that the GM decides is his virtual tabletop of choice. You're also going to have lots of opportunities to check out all sorts of seminars, I am sure, in the Con of Champions and Gary Con and all the others that have been running since the quarantining, stay-at-home orders, whatever it is called in your area, since the advent of coronavirus, and with all the conventions being canceled, virtual conventions have filled some of that void, and they've worked out pretty well. I've been quite impressed being able to attend conventions far and wide with people that I wouldn't normally get a chance to play with or hang out with. And indeed, I guess these things could have been done prior to all of this happening, but quite frankly, the fact that it takes this for us to find a way to virtually game with one another when we could have been doing this all along is a bit surprising how well we've adapted to it. The seminars in particular at these conventions have been a blast. I've been very much impressed with the cartography seminars I've been to, the GMing tip seminars I've been to, the openness of various game companies to having their main people just have a open panel. Not quite ask me anything type stuff, because it does stick with the gaming, and that's what I want anyway. If I'm going to go to a gaming convention and talk to somebody who works in the gaming industry, I want to ask them game questions. Whether it's where'd you start, what's your favorite game, what was your favorite session you've ever been in. Everything just shy of tell me about your character, because we know that never ends well. But we have a really good time getting a chance to get some advice from people that have run games for years and years and years, and to hear about tricks and traps they might have put together that you can then port over to your own games if you DM. And to also get a chance to get some behind-the-scenes stuff on products that have come out or that are coming out in the near future or distant future. There was a great cartography. Good morning, Lost Nomad. There was a great cartography seminar Q&A showing off the map for Gaxmore. Luke and Ernie's Trollord's game offering. And the map redone by Alyssa Faden was so phenomenal. The detail. And her and Steve Chenault were sitting in a sort of a open Twitch panel. We all got to ask questions about little details that were on there. They got to talk about how they converted the map from the earlier version to a much more detailed, colorful version. It printed up a giant, I don't know if it was like 8-foot by 8-foot rendition of it to hang on the walls in the Trollord Castle, Casa de Trollord, Casa de Chanel. But I think it's just wonderful that we get to interact with people in ways that we haven't in the past, even if we did have the opportunity to do so. So I'm very pleased to see these virtual game conventions doing so well. And I'm so glad, speaking of weekly news, right? I think it was just last week it was announced that the good folks at Virtual Tabletop Events, or just Tabletop Events, had put on the Virtual Con of Champions to raise enough money to see them through to the end of the year and to put some much needed upgrades in place so that they could handle whatever might come, whether it was we're going to reopen and then suddenly there's going to be a slew of conventions making up for the first half of the year, or whether this is going to drag on and there's going to be a lot more virtual conventions. Any which way, we did not want to see tabletop events go bye-bye. They're such a big part, and have been for a number of years now, of the physical conventions, handling of registration and all the event scheduling and submitting of events and putting it all together. Good morning, Ink Dweller 8. Thanks for joining us. And it's just important. Uh-oh. Looks like I froze up there. Let me see if I can get this to rework here. Let's see. It's one way. Nope, not quite. Tell you what. Activate. We'll activate again. There we go. Okay. I used to worry. Lexfire22, welcome. Congrats, Lexfire22, for winning the virtual GameHole Con badge that were given away for last week. Well done. Just showing up, being a follower, chiming in on the chat week after week. Sooner or later, you're almost definitely going to win something sooner or later. We're not that big a show yet that we have so many people that there'll be many people that don't wind up winning something. And I don't mean to say that to rub the noses of the people that haven't won something yet in anything. I'm sure your turns will come. Just the law of averages are there, right? They're on your side now. If you haven't won yet, you're due. You're not overdue, but you're due. And it'll be coming soon. GameHole Con. So I don't get to GameHole Con every year. I have collected the plushies because they're cool. Probably my favorite being the owlbear. I should break those out, get them up on a shelf, but I use fake shelves. Thank you, David L. Pancake, for the background. That's fantastic. Wizard Study. by David L. Pancake, if you're not familiar. The the plushies are really cool from GameHole Con and Virtual GameHole Con. I'll definitely be DMing some games for there. I'm all signed up and registered with a badge, so I'm good to go there. I'll probably submit a little further along after I find out where a few other people I know are running games at different times, because one of the downfalls, if you like to DM a bunch of stuff, which I do, is that you submit your schedule and then you look at what's available and you realize, oh shoot, if I'd have known so-and-so's running in that slot, I'd have ran it in a different slot myself, so I'd be open to possibly get in their game, and so on and so forth. So you try to coordinate with a few different favorite DMs of your own to make sure that you have some viable games to play in the few slots you have open. I'm usually pretty busy at conventions, and it's going to be true with Virtual GameHole Con 2. I don't have a doubt. Con of Champions. Lexfire, I'm Roll20 is what I use primarily right now. Although I'm also exploring, oh heck, drawing a blank. I'll get right back to you on that. Not Fantasy Grounds, but there's one that's tied to OBS that they do, and my brain is hurting this morning as I'm having Astral. Have you heard of Astral Tabletop? ASTRAL. It looks pretty cool. There's a lot of course, it does dynamic lighting, but it also does weather, which is really neat. So you could have like a big storm or a light rain if you got outdoor stuff. Foundry, I don't know. Is Foundry tied to Astral Tabletop? Are they one and the same? Am I missing something? So I've played and/or run games on Roll20. I haven't done Fantasy Grounds, except way back in the day when it first came out. I messed with it a little bit. Pretty neat. It's very good, obviously. I haven't done D&D Beyond, but you know, I've seen that on Twitch streams, and that looks really effective. I've played or run in games that were straight up on Discord, Zoom, Google Hangouts, still out there. Skype, although it's been quite a while since I've been involved in any Skype games, so I don't know that that's still much of a viable, relative to other things that are out now. That might be kind of antiquated. Foundry Virtual Tabletop, you say, is new. I'll have to take a look at that and see what's up with that. I'd like to, even if I'm not doing something with it, I want to be informed about it so that I have some idea what's out there. And let's face it, if people are running games in those things and they're free for you to sign up as a player just to play in, then, why not set up an account in advance of Virtual GameHole Con and take a look at them and give them a shot in advance, so that if somebody wants to run a game on there and you see a game you like that you want to play in, you're already set up in advance, so you don't have to try to scramble in the 11th hour to put together an account just so you can play in a game you want to play in. What else? So we got all those virtual tabletops. Are there some others that we haven't mentioned that are worth mentioning? They're all worth mentioning, right? Well, if you think of any, pop them down in the chat there and I'll bring them up here. People can still play. Oh, you know what else I wanted to mention was the board gaming sites. Now, a lot of people use Steam and Tabletop Simulator. I've had trouble with that. I don't have a great computer system, and every time I've tried to download and upload or download and put that onto my system, my software, virus software, just throwing up red flags left and right as to what it was trying to do to change my system so it worked. And I don't know, just felt very invasive. So personally, I'm staying clear of that. I've got too much on my computer that I'd rather not have to deal with replacing or recovering or anything like that. So for me, Tabletopia works just fine. There's plenty of games on there that are worth playing. Yucata.de, it's a German website. Yucata.de has a bunch of games I've been playing lately with Tom around here. We haven't been able to get Brad playing much. It's his busy season with the heat coming on, and he's a HVAC guy, so it's air conditioning repair time for him, and he's getting a lot of calls and keeping really busy, and I'm glad he's doing well, but we miss him at the virtual game table. Wendy comes out and plays from time to time, but it's also that time of year where she winds up going on a lot of little trips and vacations and stuff. So she's been rather busy herself. So it's been a lot of two-player board games. I know Tom's getting a chance to play with Dave Conant and Jim Ward, Mike Gray, and that gang on other days. But that's their group, and they do that on different days. Kind of my sweet spot is playing on Tuesday midday and Friday midday, and that's generally where we do play, or when we do play. Got to play some Stone Age recently, just for fun. It's kind of a neat tic-tac-toe-y type game. Kashgar I enjoyed, although I think Tom found some holes in it that he didn't care for. Oregon is pretty neat. Gonna have to try that again. That was fun. That's about it lately. But there's a good chance that not only will I do a little RPGing at Virtual GameHole Con, I'll probably set up a few slots where I intend to play some board games. I'm thinking as nice as I saw the interface for Stone Age. Oh, and Guildhall. We just played Guildhall a couple of games, and the interface for that on Yucata was really nice as well. So Stone Age and Guildhall might be in the running, unless 3 months from now, right? End of June, July, August, September, October. Virtual GameHole Con's 4 months away almost. Maybe a week shy of that now. So we've got some time to pass before then. Hey, you know what? Speaking of newsy kind of things, do you know that the 27th of July is the anniversary of the birth of Gary Gygax? Which means that falls on a Monday this year. So we'll be doing something fun maybe that weekend, 24th, 25th, 26th, leading up to Gygax Day, as we all call it now. Maybe that weekend we should be doing something kind of fun. I know the Founders and Legends weekend is 17th, 18th, 19th, the weekend before that. I've been looking into that. I can't seem to get information on being able to see events in advance. I wouldn't mind running some games they need people to run games, but I don't know how many people are going to be attending. I don't know how many games they have on the docket already, how fast they're filling up. This is all the kind of information I'd love to have ahead of time before signing up and submitting events. I think anybody can probably join the Twitch stream when they're doing stuff like the celebrity watch us play a game games. I think if you're signed up, it's all for Extra Life, so it's a charity event. So by all means, even if you're just going to watch the events, the celebrity events, throw the $5 or $10 or whatever it is to sign up for the weekend, and know that it's going for Extra Life, for the health of kids. Is never more important than right now when so many people are strapped and so many people are out of work and maybe don't have the right kind of insurance, or they don't have insurance at all, and they have to deal with these things, and money's already tight. So important to help out on that score. But if, from what I understand, they're actually having a full slate of events run by whoever, would be nice to be able to see that stuff so that you can make some plans as to how you want to approach it. Run your games not opposite the big celebrity games so that you have a better chance of filling the seats. I've got some stuff that I could just recycle from Con of Champions, tweaked a little bit. If I run anything for it, they will be first edition, and because I'm most familiar with it and it's coming up pretty fast, they will be on Roll20. I used to do Roll20 with Discord as a voice chat, but I think the voice chat in Roll20 works fine on its own, so I'd rather not split it up and wind up with two things that could go wrong. If Roll20 goes wrong already in the moment, your game's kind of kaput anyway. You might as well have the voice chat running through Roll20 at the same time, because if you're running your voice chat separately through Discord and something goes wrong there, and it just kind of shuts you down to text in Roll20. I don't know. It just seems like keeping it all in one place would be better than splitting it up. That's my feeling anyway. But it'll be first edition AD&D games, that's for sure. And I've got some stuff. So I just need to find out what's going on with the rest of it so that I know what I'm going to do or can figure out what's best for me to do. We'll see. We'll give it a couple more days and then we'll make a little more noise about it. I've already threw a few questions out here or there trying to get that information. But at the very least, let's look toward doing something on a Monday, on the 27th, on Gary Gygax Day. Definitely run some first edition on that day. We'll start putting something together right now. Let's start talking about it. Anybody who's in the chat that wants to ping me with their interest and availability, let me know. If you're already set up on Roll20, all the better. We'll just figure out how to do it. And maybe what we'll do is we'll start off Monday with the Ink Dweller right on. We'll start off with the Monday Weekly News and Giveaway, and then we'll roll right into a daytime game if everybody here or anybody here is game. We can do an evening game. for Gary Gygax Day as well, if that's better for some people. If you're catching up with this on YouTube, ping me there, or ping me through there, or ping me on Facebook, and let me know your interest. I'll make some posts about it sometime in the not too distant future once iron out some of the details. But that's coming up fast too. I mean, let's face it, that's only 3 weeks away. So we should have something devised to announce by next Monday, so that we still have 2 weeks to get the details ironed out. We'll do that for sure. Alrighty. Well, listen, we're coming up on the half hour. Monday's one of those days where it's a little slower than normal. Any questions in the chat? I'd like to get a few questions answered if anybody has anything they're interested in or wanted to bring up. No? Nothing? Alright. Maybe you were wondering what's going on with Old School Zine. Still working on it. I've got some Dyson logos and also a map from Heath that I was working on an adventure that I was tentatively calling Tunneling Down Under. Since Heath sent me a map from Australia, which will be part of the adventure, and it takes place in an abandoned mine reclaimed by some local dwarves who then get trapped in there by some monsters and need to be rescued. Text you later to get the details. Certainly. Thank you, Inkdwell. That'd be great. So we're looking at a little adventure in the middle, with the maps in the middle, probably like a 16-page digest size on this. Couple of magic items, couple of NPCs, couple of spells, couple of monsters, and all of those things. The idea is that all of those individual components that'll be detailed in other pages will also be incorporated into the adventure. So everything is kind of thematically worked into one whole theme throughout the entire issue. That's where we're at with this so far. Got to have a page on the back, kind of a what else is going on in the OSR. So-and-so has a Patreon thing going. So-and-so's got a Kickstarter. Follow so-and-so. Podcast here, podcast there. All that sort of thing. So we'll kind of be plugging a bunch of OSR stuff on one whole page. And what do we got? Let's look at the week. Cartography and world building on Tuesday. Campaign discussion on Wednesday, mostly revolved around my Grimwald home setting, which has been around since 1974 when I started playing. Terrain crafting and miniature painting on Thursday. I think I should have some stuff done from the Crooked Staff Publishing textures that were put out. I got them all printed up and was building something, working out what I was going to build just recently, so that's a good thing. Oh, we should look at the schedule. There it is. And Friday, building adventures, mainly virtual tabletop type stuff. We've got episode 6 from Conan the Adventurer animated series coming up on this Saturday. We'll do a DM perspective review on that. The rules retrospective, we are getting into first edition character classes. We did a little background on the fighter last week. We'll get more into the actual nuts and bolts of first edition rules for the fighter. And then back around weekly news and giveaway. Thank you very much for following the channel and Twitch and chiming in while you're here in the stream chat. If you're catching up with this on YouTube, thank you there. Be sure to subscribe and also like us and maybe make a comment. I appreciate everybody. Have a great day. Stay cool. Bye-bye.